Welcome to Toffee TV. It is three things. Everton 1, Manchester United 3 at Goodison Park. Everton crashed to their third successive defeat in the Premier League after a very, very poor performance today against Manchester United. At Goodison, let's begin with first talking point, the defence. Everybody's been talking about it, Evertonians been speaking about it for a few weeks, is that we can't continue to concede goals because we're giving ourselves a mountain to climb in every game. We've had one clean sheet in the Premier League. That was at the opening day of the season at Spurs. And since we haven't had a clean sheet since Salford, which was a few days later in the Carabao Cup. Since then, certainly in the Prem, we're averaging over 2 goals a game now. And that is relegation form. I'm not saying Everton are in that, but that kind of defensive frailties puts you down the bottom end of the table rather than the top end of the table. You know, we've come on back from an international break, haven't won a game, and continue to concede goals. You know, 2 at Palace, 2 against Brighton, 2 against Liverpool, 2 against West Brom, 2 against Newcastle, 2 against Southampton, 3 today against Manchester United. Really, really poor. Having started the season brilliantly in terms of scoring goals and creating a little bit of a buffer with the for and against column, with just conceding goals, it's been whittled away. And it's really, really, it's a serious problem that the manager has to solve. He's tried Yerry Mina and Michael Keane there. He's put Mason Holgate in today, conceded 3 goals. We've had different fullbacks playing. We've had a different goalkeeper playing. And there's a real issue. And whether or not the issue is from the midfield not protecting, or whether or not the centre-backs are playing well enough. I mean, today, the first 2 goals were atrocious. The third goal was really poor, but the third goal was scored on the break. You may as well try and make it 2-2 and get beat 3-1, overcommitting. But the first and second goal today were atrocious. Michael Keane, who's been brilliant for a while, just really bad defending. He's only got one man to look after in front of him. Fernandes running into the space. Go and mark him. Go and cut his space off. And he doesn't. The lad has a free header. And then the second goal, we don't go and close the ball down. And again, Rashford's got between 2, gone for a flick, and it's spun. You know, he hasn't connected, but the ball's spun in. Just making it too easy for United to pick holes in us. The ball into Rashford in the first place. There's no pressure on the ball. There's a big gap. No one's screening Rashford. So defensively, we've got to sort it out. I don't know what the manager... It's difficult now because, players will go off on international duty. Coleman going away with Ireland, and Dean away with France, and Keane away with England. So Mina with Colombia. Godfrey will be at the 21. So all the defence won't be there. And yet, that's a real worry at the moment. Whether the manager and his coaching staff can take some time over the next couple of weeks to look at where we need to make the changes, because at the minute we're too porous. Goals are just going in too easily against us. We've got no chance of winning football games if we can't keep it tight. We took the lead today. First goal, key in 71% of Premier League matches, and we got it today, and we held the lead for 4 minutes, and then it's over. So there's real problems from a defensive standpoint, and that's why Everton have lost the last 3 games, because the goals have dried up at the other end, and we're not in a game long enough to get anything out of it. So that's a huge worry at the moment. And I don't know, a lot of people would say that Keane and Holgate are our best pairing. I don't know. He didn't prove it today, so got to step up defensively. Second thing I want to talk about is Gylfi Sigurdsson. I don't really want to dig people out, but just at the moment I can't understand why he's in our team. Seeing a stat, I said it on my match reaction, he didn't play a single pass to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he's in there to link up with them. Really, he's in that midfield role to try to be creative, try to get us a goal. His set pieces aren't very good. He's not creating any chances. He doesn't tackle, he can't run. I just struggle to see why the manager thinks that he's the answer in there when... Listen, obviously Fabian Delphi's out today. He might have played, I don't know. Andre Gomez has had a goal, but he was poor last week. But then Gylfi was poor last week. So I don't know what the answer is. I think I'd throw Ben Godfrey in there at the moment and try to get some legs and a bit of power in there with the Corey and Alan, and try and get your full-backs forward more. Because there's just, with too pedestrian in there. Alan's leaving his position and going hunting the ball. then there's a big hole in behind. The core, he's trying to do two jobs. He's trying to cover and get forward. And then Gylfi's there not doing one job. So I think that's something the manager's got to look at. But I just at the minute, I'm struggling to see why he's in the team. He's done all right from the bench for 20 minutes, 25 minutes at the end of games in the first part of the season. But not for me, not good enough at the moment to be in our team. But that's just my opinion. You might have a very different one. And finally is just very briefly, January, the transfer window, just wondering whether Everton will dip into it, whether it's a loan or whatever, because the forward positions are a big issue, really, in terms of there's nothing on the bench to change a game up. There's nothing that's different. Every player's very similar. We've lost Richarlison, he hasn't been there for 3 games, and we've lost all 3 games. James has been injured, played injured in 2 of the games, and you can tell, and missed the other game. When you look at the way you've played in other games compared to these last 2, there's a big drop-off. And there's just nothing on the bench. There's Cenk Tosun, who's not really going to change anything for us. And I just wonder if they're looking, and, you know, the club made the decision not to get a centre-forward in, or not to get a forward player in, you know, when the summer transfer window closed. And obviously we were hit immediately with it. And there'll be a recency bias because we're struggling in those games and we've lost players. But I just think for us to go forward and try to reach where we want to reach, I'm just not convinced we're good enough in the final third, and the options we got aren't good enough, because, you know, there's nobody really weighing in with any, you know, the single goals. Dom hasn't scored today. You know, Bernard's come in and scored a goal, which is good, but there's no goals on the bench. There's no goals in the midfield. And I just wonder if, well, it's not even a wonder. If Everton are ever going to push for the top 4 and higher, they're going to need much more goals in that team. They're going to need, you know, Bruno Fernandes has got 2 today for Manchester United. We don't have anyone like that who can pop up with goals like that, because we have James, who scored a few, but playing in a wide area. United have Martial and Rashford and Greenwood. They got Cavani, who's come on and scored today. They have a Garlo, he scores goals for them. They've got Pog, you know, that's just Manchester United. They've got an embarrassment of riches. But you look around, Everton, that's an area that I think Everton will struggle with, unless we can bring someone in. And it's a difficult window to do it. January, it really is. But that's what we've got to be looking for. We've got to be looking if we can get goals from somewhere else. And if we're going to continue with 4-3-3, which turns into 4-5-1 mostly with us, they're going to have to look for someone who's flexible as well, who can play wide and contribute with goals, because it's a big ask for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to just score all the goals. And obviously it's another game we haven't won without Richarlison, which is embarrassing, frankly. There shouldn't be one player that misses games and you've never won a game without, and that's atrocious, really. It's something Everton have got to right very quickly, and I don't know whether January's the right month to do it, but I just thought coming up, I wonder if they are now looking and thinking, can we bring someone in who can either force their way into the team, or who's a real viable option to come off the bench and maybe nick a goal or create a goal? Because at the minute, what we're getting isn't great from the bench. But that's just my thoughts anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and if you want more videos, join us on Patreon. See you later.